Hello and welcome to another trip report. This time on the ferry between Kiel in North Germany and Gothenburg, the second city of Sweden. What I will do in this video, I show you the ferry terminal, show you briefly the railway station in Kiel, show you the ferry and also the terminal in Gothenburg in Sweden. I hope you like this video or this is a helpful video to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more trip reports about a more sustainable way of transportation, mainly train, but also ferry, this channel is mainly focusing on long distance and international, mainly train and sometimes ferry traveling, hit the subscribe button. But for now, let's roll the intro. Kiel is a little more than 1 hour by train from Hamburg. From there on you find trains to many destinations in Germany, but also abroad. For example, trains to Denmark, and from there on you can also easily change trains to Gothenburg, but we'll be taking the ferry today. The first leg from Hamburg is with this very local train that will go to Kiel Hauptbahnhof, what is the main railway station of Kiel. It's not a very stunning ride, and apart from that, at the moment I did this journey, the weather was a kind of grey. Apart from these regional trains that do connect Hamburg with Kiel, there are some long distance trains as well that will go to Kiel, and some of these trains are even international trains. There's for example one train per day that will go to Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic. For the regional trains between Hamburg and Kiel, I noticed different kinds of rolling stock, but I'm not doing a train review of that. I will show you the railway station a bit though. Kiel Hauptbahnhof, so Kiel main railway station, is a terminal station and therefore the layout is relatively simple. There are plenty of shops and information points, well actually the usual stuff you can expect at a railway station of this size. Information about departing trains is given on these screens, and for the ferries, well, you have to go this way as you can see here on the signs. Although there is a little trigger, but I'll get back to that later on. If you arrive here and you just want to go explore the area by car, there's also a car rental company and you find lockers where you can drop your stuff if you want to go into the city. At the opposite side, if you follow the direction towards the ferries, you'll find a lot of bus stops and these are mainly for city buses. There's also an exchange office if you want to exchange cash money, but for now I think it's time to move slowly towards the ferry. From Kiel you will find 3 international ferries. One to Oslo in Norway, one to Gothenburg in Sweden and one to Klaipeda in Lithuania. The maritime industry is in general not really known for being very environmental friendly. However, for ferries this is in general a different story. Of course, this is all depending on many different factors and also what kind of ship, for example. Cruise ships are in general known for being one of the most polluting ways of having a holiday, for example. The ferry between Hamburg and Oslo, that ferry feels more like a cruise ship than a ferry. It's very luxurious, but they don't really utilize the space a lot. So therefore I think that ferry connection is not on my list to take if I'm traveling on a more sustainable way of transportation. However, Kiel Gothenburg definitely is on that list. I will be taking this ferry to Gothenburg, and from Gothenburg there are many direct trains to Oslo. It's not a long journey. Apart from the ferries from Kiel, I quickly want to highlight the ferries from the town of Travemünde. That's a part of Lübeck and that's very nearby Kiel. From there on you find several ferries per day and night that will go to Malmö in Sweden, Trelleborg, but also to the Baltic states and even Helsinki. To me, the connection Travemünde-Malmö is the biggest competitor for this specific ferry, Kiel Gothenburg. Mainly because there are several sailings per day and I can even catch the latest ferry after a full day working in the Netherlands to Malmö, from where on there are every hour trains to Gothenburg and other places, so I can continue my journey. Even though the experience on the Finnline's route between Travemünde, what is Lübeck, and Malmö is totally different, and on the Malmö side the public transportation is not that good, and especially in the weekend, so you need to take a taxi. But it's not a matter of if, but more a matter of when, but I'll probably make a trip report on that route as well. Also, Lübeck is very good within reach of Hamburg, but for now it's time to go back to Kiel Hauptbahnhof, so the main railway station. From there on, you won't only find trains, both regional and long distance, but also international and long distance buses. They do depart a little bit more from the front of the railway station if you pass by the square. And over there I found more bus stops. Something that can be useful, but also a little bit scenic. There are blue lines that will direct you from the railway station to the ferry terminal and the other way around. However, if you follow this blue line for the ferry to Sweden, you make a big detour. Well, at least you get to see something of the city. Anyway, best way is use Google Maps from the ferry terminal and the railway station if you're traveling with Stena. For the other ferry companies, you can follow the blue line. Today I'll be traveling with Stena Line on the route Gothenburg-Kiel, or actually Kiel-Gothenburg, and on this route you will find two vessels, the Stena Germanica and the Stena Scandinavica. These vessels are not exactly the same, but today I'll be traveling on board of the Stena Germanica, which is the older version of these vessels. The Stena Germanica has a slightly higher capacity as the Stena Scandinavica, with 1500 passengers. The Stena Scandinavica can hold up to 1300 passengers, but that vessel is a bit more modern. Both vessels can accommodate exactly the same amount of vehicles. At the lower level in the Stena Line terminal, there's a special area for truck drivers, and I also noticed a special lounge for truck drivers. The higher level, this space is huge, but not very much utilized. I mean, look at all this space. There are only a couple of benches where you can have a sit. And from here on you also have a great view on the ferry. Somehow I feel like if different ferry companies share one terminal building, you have better and more facilities. I don't understand why there are 3 different terminals really close to each other here. At the higher floor of this building there's a restaurant that was closed when I was here, but I had a quick sneak peek. You can also do a mini cruise on this route. In that case, there are some free shuttle buses that will be connected on this ferry, and that's basically it. I mean, what else do I need to say about this huge space? Well, I know what I need to say. It's important that you check in, so show your booking confirmation and your ID card or passport, and then you get a key card for the ferry. This key card is basically your room key and your ticket in one. After that you can, well, as the boarding process starts, go via the gate to the ferry. This gate will lead you straight to deck number 8. Deck number 8 doesn't host that much public facilities apart from the reception or the front desk if you want to compare this with a hotel. At the moment I boarded the ferry, some welcome drinks were overhanded. Welcome drinks, basically a promotion in the tax-free shop that was also a welcome drink. Very smart way of promoting things, I have to say. And like I mentioned, you find here the front office or guest service as they call it. For the rest you find mainly cabins, and near the guest service area you find these public spaces with some benches and some places where you can stand with a table. That's basically it. Well, for now I think I will move to the cabin, but before I do that, I have to drop my stuff. Ooh, it's nice. So, like with most ferries, you get a card. This is your room key. And, well, in some cases, if you booked extras to it, it's also based on this card. That's not for this ferry here. However, I do have another card as well, because I'm a Stena Line extra member. You can collect points for discounts. I'm traveling actually quite a lot with Stena Line. Anyway, for this crossing I bought an outside cabin. Was not that much pricier, and besides that, this is a business related trip, so I'm not even paying for it myself. For today I have room 10619, and 10 stands basically for deck 10. And 619 stands for the cabin number, so deck 10, cabin number 609, 619. So let me give you a cabin tour of this cabin. I already dropped my stuff in here. Here we are. I've booked a 2-berth outside cabin. Most cabins on board of vessels are inside cabins, what basically means there's no window. But we take the red picture, this is more or less the same. So, I'm having it to myself. This is the bed I'm using, but you can make it a bunk bed, so you can create another bed here. Has already been a kind of made, although there's no topping on the mattress. Let me put it back. It's a little seat over here. You have reading lights. What I said, I already turned the lights on, so it's a little bit easier to film. A small desk, quite a lot of power plugs there. 3 in total. Place where you can hang your coat is my bag. And what is a great thing of traveling on board of ferries instead of taking a train is you have a bathroom. Oh, let me turn on the light, might be a little bit easier. And here we go. Toilet, washing sink, shower. And in general my experience is on ferries is that the showers are really good. I will tell you later on in the video that's also the case for this vessel. About the shower, it's really good. The water is quite powerful, and if you adjust the temperature it goes really quick. I will go enjoy my shower again. Over here you can find the climate control. Let me turn off the lights here again. There's a ladder for if you want to use the upper bed. And here's some safety information. This is all, it's also in Dutch. But this is also in Swedish, German and in English. Most information about this vessel is in these 3 languages. There's also a map of this section of the vessel. Yeah, that's basically it. There's also TV, or browse a bit. What I really like on lots of ferries, you get this channel where you can have a look from the front of the vessel. I'll have a look if that's also the case over here. Will be in the screen right now. Anyway, I hope I can show you some other cabins as well. Normally I stay on the, cabins you find most of these, or in general the inside more affordable cabins. This one was for this crossing not that much pricier, so this is why I bought this one for now. Yeah, and for now let's just continue with the vessel tour. However, before I do that, I'll show you briefly some other types of accommodations you can find on board of this vessel. When you take the great picture, this is all the same, but these are for example the front view cabins. But most cabins are very similar to the cabin I had. They might be there for 2, 4 or 3 people, with or without a window, and pet friendly or not. Of course, some cabins are fancier than other cabins, but on this route you find quite fancy cabins, like these for example. I mean, this is really something different as what I had. And on the other vessel, the Stena Germanica, you even find some cabins that do have a private jacuzzi. You only find that on this route on Stena Line ferries. And look at this bed for example. If I'll be traveling here, I almost feel like I need to make different kinds of video for a different platform. Well, that's definitely not going to happen. For now, we'll continue with this vessel tour. I showed you my cabin. For now, I think it's time for a wander at the vessel, and I will do the vessel tour from top to down. I think that's the easiest way to do so. Right now I'm deck 10. I will move to deck 11 now. The more luxury cabins are all located at deck 11. There's even a own lounge, and what I understood, breakfast is also being served in your cabin. I couldn't see a lot of these cabins though, but actually I'm quite curious because they look really nice. At the back there's also a sun deck, and some of the more luxury cabins do have their own kind of front garden or balcony. It's really nice, but it doesn't feel that private to be honest, if everybody can pass by your area. And also the space right next to that is public. From deck 11 you have a good view on the back of the vessel, where you find lots of cars or trucks. There's also one deck above that's basically only a sun deck, and I guess this should be deck 12, even though it's not really indicated. Deck number 10 hosts only cabins, and this is also where my cabin is. This is only for a small section where you find cabins, so not over the entire length of the vessel, so therefore you cannot take all staircases to deck 10, so keep this in mind. Deck 9 is basically the same, only cabins, and at deck 8 you find mainly cabins, but also the reception or front desk or passenger service. I don't know how you want to mention it. Anyway, this is the point where I boarded this vessel. You can travel with pets on board of this vessel, and at deck 7 there's a special dog toilet. Near all staircases you also find elevators, and all the staircases and elevators do have colors. Because not all staircases and elevators go to all decks, for example the cabins at deck 10. Most public spaces are located at deck number 7, the lucky number. Over here there's a small outside area, that is the smoke area. Well, I'm not going to go there, but more importantly all the entertainment areas and the tax-free shop are also located at deck 7. For a tax-free shop on an international ferry, I didn't find this shop super big, to be honest. Actually, I like it when it's not too big. And the things you can buy here are the usual things you can buy at tax-free shops. I'm not gonna mention it all. And by the way, I think you already have a good overview when I show this on camera over here. In terms of sustainability, Stena Line is really doing their best to become more and more sustainable. Not only in selling products, but also in, for example, the fuel they are using and other techniques. Actually, for this reason I really like Stena Line. If you're traveling with kids, there's this play area near the restaurants at deck 7. I really like it. It's not very big, but it's a fun place for kids to hang around. And the parents can even just sit in the restaurant and have a look at their kids. Speaking of which, there is quite a big restaurant area and a kind of a nightclub area as well. At night there's some live music, pop quiz, etc. Next to this place there is a bar, and this is mainly opened at night. Right next to the sea view area, nightclub and the bar, you also find the Metropolitan restaurant. Over here you can have dinner, and this is all buffet style. If you go here, the dinner is including drinks, so also alcoholic drinks. I think there's an official limit of 3 alcoholic drinks maximum, but actually no one pays attention for this. Anyway, I'm not drinking too much anyway, because, well, I don't like to be drunk at first. And second of all, I have quite some intense travel days, so why should I drink too much? This is also the spot where I had my breakfast, what was also buffet style. Well, this is the restaurant, how it looks like. Pretty nice, but nothing really special. I'll show the other restaurants in a bit. Also, for the breakfast, plenty of choice, and once again, this is all buffet style. Well, buffet is just too dangerous for me. I mean, I really need to watch my weight anyway, and with a buffet, it's easy to overeat yourself. The tax-free shop I showed you earlier on is actually located in the middle of deck 7. If you move towards the restaurants I just showed you and the nightclub, from the tax-free shop, you'll find these slot machines. Gambling and being at open sea are going hand in hand together, unfortunately. At the other side of deck 7 you will find the Metropolitan buffet and restaurant. This is a la carte and the restaurant is a bit more fancy. You can reserve already a seat at the moment you make your booking, but this doesn't include a menu. Apart from the Metropolitan restaurant, what I think is the best restaurant on board of this vessel, you also find the Metropolitan bistro. And right next to that you find this special area dedicated for commercial drivers. The bistro is also a buffet, but it's not unlimited like you can find at the other restaurant. What is the taste restaurant? What I really like, by the way, are the views at the front of the vessel from the Metropolitan restaurant, as you can see over here. At last, at this area there's also a bar, and I have to say these seats do look way nicer than many other seats I saw on board of this vessel. Directions are given very well, both with maps of the vessel but also with arrows about what facilities can be found where and what cabins or in what direction. Even though you will find only one garbage bin in the cabin, in the public areas you find different garbage bins you can use to recycle your waste. At the moment the ferry is leaving Kiel, the ferry will go backwards out of the harbor, and when it's able to make a turn, it will continue its way to Sweden. A great thing about this ferry, you have a great view at the city, and this is when we left Kiel. Even though this is not really a scenic route, the area at the moment you arrive near Gothenburg is the most scenic area, I guess. This is the next morning at the moment I arrived in Gothenburg in Sweden. I purchased my ticket directly on the website of Stena Line. However, if you're traveling with the use of Interrail, you most likely get a discount as well, and I was traveling with the use of Interrail, so this might be very useful. Another thing you really need to keep in mind, and I can't say this enough, there are two Stena Line terminals in Gothenburg. One for the ferry to Denmark and another one for the ferry to Germany. So please, if you leave from here, make sure you will go to the right Stena Line ferry terminal. The ferries to Germany do depart, at least at the moment of recording, from the terminal that is most far away from the city center and the railway station, and a little bit closer to the highway, what is ideal for truck drivers and people who travel on board this ferry by car. Disembarkation for foot passengers is just like at the terminal in Germany, via a gate that will be attached to this ferry. This is quite a modern building, but it didn't seem like there are a whole lot of facilities over here. It's just a functional area, and I think when you depart from here you have a different view as when you arrive here. I also noticed the ferry to Denmark leaving from here, by the way. Once again, I can't say this enough, the ferry terminal for the ferries of Stena Line to Denmark is a different terminal as the ferries that do depart to Germany. At the front of the ferry terminal you will find some taxis, and not far away from here you also find the trams. At the moment you walk towards the trams, I also noticed a bike sharing program and a ferry that will go to the other side of the river, but the railway station, well, it's on this side of the river, so I took the tram. Apparently, if you take line 3, this is the slow and scenic route, and I took this. At least this way I could see a little bit more of Gothenburg. Even though it has been a while since I've been here, I really like this city. From Gothenburg I could hop on my next mode of transportation straight away. Actually, I planned to take a later train that day and spend some time in Gothenburg, but hey, I still had time to take that next train to Oslo, so I took the early one. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did so, give me a thumbs up on YouTube, and if you'd like to see more trip reports about a more sustainable way of transportation, mainly train, but sometimes also ferry, and even sometimes buses, because, well, on some routes buses just make a lot more sense. Just hit the subscribe button. For now, that's really it for this video. See you on my next video. This trip is a part of a greater journey where I traveled by train from the Netherlands to Kiel in northern Germany, from where on I took an overnight ferry to Gothenburg in Sweden and continued my way by train to Oslo. I took Norway's fastest train, but also the train that goes on the highest altitude in all of Northern Europe. I traveled by bus and boat towards Vlam, from where on I took the famous Vlamsbane. This is the steepest railway in the world that is not using a cogwheel. And of course I also took more local trains. This all to show you what it's like to travel on a more sustainable way of transportation and to lower your carbon footprint while traveling. I even took a bus that went on some ferries. And for the last train ride, I've also had a train that called at Norway's most southern railway station. From the town of Kristiansand in the south of Norway, I took a ferry back homebound towards the Netherlands. And of course, I made trip reports on all of this. If you liked this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free and you can always unsubscribe anyway. And if you want to know more about specific videos, in the description of this video on YouTube you find a link to a map, and on that map you will find all trip reports. See you on my next video.